Hello, this is Keith Miller. I've decided to attempt a video blog in order to make my journal reviews. I thought this is a good way to allow me to put in pictures as well as maybe some videos to link everything together and give my personal view. Because I often find when we're talking about plays, it's best to have some visualizations in order to help make a point. It's often tough to find the exact words to describe, oh, I liked it when they had their leg just like this. Instead I thought, hey, maybe I can cut in some pictures. I'm also hoping that this will then bring about some discussion and maybe get other people involved to do the same sort of thing for this class, because I think everyone has their own kind of unique, cool opinions, and it'd be really cool to get everyone kind of visualizing what they're actually trying to do and maybe finding examples of what they're trying to say to make everything a little more clear, instead of just going by with words and how descriptive you can get. Not to mention, I think that gets kind of long and boring, so hopefully this will be entertaining. And if not, go watch bloopers of something on YouTube. I mean, I'm sure there's a kitty cat playing a piano somewhere. Alright, January 19th, we went and we saw 3 shows, part of this thing right here. High Performance Rodeo, woo! 27th annual. With One Yellow Rabbit. So they've been around, they seem to know their stuff. Don't know why I went in so worried about this. Clearly they know what they're doing, and clearly it was going to be entertaining some form. We saw 3 different shows. The Alberta Ballet, an Irish touring troupe called Pony Dance, and we followed it up with a performance by One Yellow Rabbit, The People You May Know. And I couldn't put my finger on just one performance that I thought was the best. I liked them all very much because of their differences. They were all very different, so I wasn't able to compare or contrast the plays in their entirety. Of course, each one has their own difference. 2 shows were dance shows, and one was a techno puppetry-based show, which was really cool to see. But they all had their differences that I thought was a great way to start the shows. We didn't go see 3 things that we can all just be like, well, you know, it was like this dance, and then we saw this other form of dance, and then, well, we saw this last form of dance that we could really nitpick. This time we were given a very broad spectrum of what we're planning on seeing, and then I think that's great because there's so many different theater companies, each with their own idea of what they want to showcase. So we are able to see dancing, we're able to see technological puppetry, we'll see one-man shows, we'll see so much more, and I think that's what this class is about, which I'm really excited about. So let's start with Up Close. Up Close. Ah. Alright, so this is the Alberta Ballet. And of course, the first thing I thought when I thought of Alberta Ballet was, well, this. And then this. And since it was going to be sort of a contemporary, modern dance take on ballet, I was a little worried it was going to look like this. Oh, 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 oh. I was very pleasantly surprised. I thought each of the performances put on were really cool. Of course, the fact that I can't do any of it always just amazed me. We talked about a virtuoso performance, and definitely in the last one, I thought that was clearly seen. I mean, dump the physical memory. That was really, really cool. Just because it was so physical, you were able to see so much, and there were just moments in it that I think there was an actual gasp moment. One dancer came in, jumped, spread arm like a complete starfish, and then just got caught inches above the ground. The entire crowd was just gasped. It was so cool. All the other ones, P.S. I Love You, the one that was all female at the beginning, was a really nice way to start the show. And I have to give the programmers credit because they ended up sort of story arcing the entire performance in a very smart way. They started off with this sort of light-hearted dance piece at the very beginning. I thought it fit with the music really well. It was really cool. All-female cast, and they had a very unique presence about themselves. All very talented. Again, not sure. I mean, you could tell there was a bit of a story that was going along with it, but it wasn't focused. I still think the focus was on the dance. The focus was on these amazing dancers, which they were. I loved the use of canon in it. It was so cool to see, one person starting a movement and then another one following in until every performer was dancing in unison. It is such a cool image to see. And of course, they were very precise. But each dancer actually had their own sort of character, which I liked and I think helped incorporate maybe the theme that was trying to be put on by Denise Clark, who was also a great choreographer. It is ballet again, so I don't know if there was restrictions with that, because sometimes I felt it was struggling with whether or not it wanted to be sort of a narrative piece or just a creative dance piece. All in all, it was really cool and enjoyed it. The music itself, it was definitely choreographed to the music. I could feel that it was both one and the same. I think the music often drove a lot. I mean, you had the singing at the end. I don't think that would have been planned out to do without already hearing the soundtrack for the performance. The ruin / time, that one, of course, just the duo partner piece was cool. Didn't know what to expect. You got strobe light. Right off the bat, it was disjointed, it was unconnected, and then they just went at it. It was cool. Yeah, it was one of those things that I kind of was sitting back after like seeing the first one, kind of the lightheartedness of like, ooh, speaking English and joking around. And then this one, which was just go, go, go. There was never a real moment of pause or stop. And I think the music also helped with that. This was another piece where the music was already known and found before the dance was created. And it showed. They used it very well. I mean, it was sort of unsyncopation rhythms at times, but it was very driving force. And man, the strength between the two was crazy. I loved how close we were, because you could see them struggling, but you could also see that if you were any further away, man, it would look like effortless instead of just seeing them like gasping for air. The imagery I loved, like right at the end, the flower petals, the posing. I thought that was a lovely piece between the two of them. Showcased their talent. I mean, they had to be right on, and they had to be right with each other to do those lifts, to hold each other. I mean, even when she was standing on the guy's chest at one point, you gotta be strong. She was holding herself up. You could see how rigid she was when she was doing that. Because, the guy probably had absolutely no breath, so the last thing you want is some broad standing on your chest when you're breathless. So they worked together really, really well. One question I do want to, throw out to anyone who watches this. I'm always concerned, or not concerned, I'm concerned about you, but I'm always curious what draws your eye the most when you see a partner dance like that. Oftentimes I'm an actor, so when I see a part on stage, I immediately sort of put myself into the part I'd love to play. And in a dance piece, I'm always putting myself into the male dancer, because I would like to learn, or at least try to do that. And I wonder if that's the same for everyone else. If when you're watching a male and female dancer on stage, if you immediately connect with the dancer of the same sex just because you're trying to put yourself into their place. If that's the case, cool. Not sure why that is, but I would like to replace myself, because he was the one who drew my eye the most, and I'm not sure if it was because he was more technically precise, because I know in ballet it's meant to showcase the female more. So I'm wondering if that is just my eye being drawn to him because I'd rather put myself in his place and give it a go. Or did I find him more interesting? I really liked the moves when he would stand up and sort of like kick out his leg and fall over. I really liked those things. And so I throw that question out to you. The final dance piece. Wow. That was insane. My only complaint, and it's not even a complaint, it's life, I guess, is I wish I was sitting right in the front. I don't care where you sit, but I wish I was sitting in the front so I could have seen how the light boxes were meant to work. Instead, I was off to the side, so the magic was a bit lost because I could see how they were doing everything. It was still very cool because I could see the technique they still needed, and I knew if I had been sitting in the front, it would have looked like magic. But I just lost that, and I think that was a huge image that they were trying to go with. So I felt, unfortunately, without sitting in the front, I lost that magic, and I lost that huge image that they were going for. But the rest of the piece was crazy. The unison that they did was awesome. I was so impressed. They were always together, never wonky. Sometimes you can see that one person who's that half step back. I wasn't able to see. So strong. I mean, these guys are fit. These guys are talented, and I think there are a few students who said like just how strong they were. You make fun of ballet dancers. Well, I dare any one of you guys out there to go up to one of those ballet dancers and not get a jeté kick to the throat, which would hurt. Not to mention, you may think they're lady boys or anything like that, but every single girl was staring at them as well. So that was just good for them. I'm going to take up ballet, hopefully lose a few pounds and get myself an 8-pack. Or go watch another episode on Netflix. That might come first. I liked the fact that the choreographer was in it, and I could definitely tell he was in it right away because my eye was drawn to him. There's a difference between dancing choreography and feeling choreography, and he definitely knew it. Yukichi Hattori was his name. Looking forward to seeing more of his stuff. I'm curious as to why he threw himself in. I don't know if there was a bit of a nod to Alfred Hitchcockiness and how, a choreographer just wants to put himself in, if they just needed a body. If he worked perfectly, there was height parts of that dance, and what I mean by that is long sweeping kicks and arm gestures, which were great when you had like the guy who was almost 6 foot tall standing beside him who could effortlessly sweep his leg over top of Hattori's head, and Dory could just stand straight up. It was a great dynamic to have, great contrast. And he was still just as strong, and I think the most technically appealing dancer at that time. It was very interesting, but I don't know if he just wanted to throw himself in because he didn't come out and bow at the end, which I actually respect because in the end it was his dancers who did it. He choreographed, and yes, he was in a piece, but his dances were in everything else, and that was amazing. It was so cool. So Alberta Ballet definitely gets a thumbs up for me. I kind of wish I'd seen it again. It would have been very cool, and I wish I'd different seats. So those are my two big things. But yeah. Here I am with Meredith Pritchard after watching the Alberta Ballet. Quick question for you. What image sticks in your mind the most after the performance you've just seen?
I would have to say the last choreography piece where all of the men were walking around the stage with light boxes and they were jumping in and out of them as the light box moved is probably the image that sticks in my mind right now.
Next, we actually had quite a bit of time to ourselves. And this is one of the things I love about a festival atmosphere. We went out to a little pub to actually grab some food. And it was great to bump into the associate producer of the festival. And I actually was able to interview him. So I'm going to play the clip of my interview with him. This is in a bar, in a little pub. And I only had my cell phone. So the lighting quality is horrible. The audio is probably going to be not so clear. So shut up, listen in, and hopefully you'll hear what he has to say. He was a great guy, and he was very willing to talk to me. So I suggest that next time, if we ever get the chance to talk to the artists. They're not shy. They definitely want to talk to everybody or talk to the people involved in the festival because they're all drama people. So clearly they're all in love with how they look on camera.